It's found a little blackberry stash. Fantastic. Look at that. Super sweet. Really good. Right, 1 week out. I've done my CCC. So it's been a week now. I'm off my little shakeout run to check out the legs, see how they're going. So that was a quick shakeout run. How far did I go? 40 minutes, 6k. Just trying to get the legs turning over, get the blood back in, just eke out some of these sort of little pangs I've got. Little tightness in my groins, but I can work that out. I did Pilates this week and that really helped, but it was quite sore because we did a lot of glutes. So I'm just going to get back into it now, keep the legs turning over and just slowly start to build the mileage up. And yeah, looking good though after a week out from the CCC. So I'm going to go back home and just talk about just a debrief really of the race, what went right, a lot went wrong, and we'll see how that fares. So I'm going to go and get on with that. See you in a bit. All right, back in the cabin. I'm going to do my debrief now on the CCC. Here's my bib number, or Doussard en français, 4167. Wow, it was an amazing race, yeah. It is an iconic race, part of the UTMB week. It goes on, they do loads of different races. CCC is the sister, they call it, of the UTMB. The UTMB is kind of the main race everyone's trying to go for. I did the CCC, it's about 100 kilometers and it's 6,100 meters of climb. So it is pretty mountainous. And yeah, it took me, how long did it take me? 21 hours 20, and that was a long time. I was hoping to do it in about, I don't know, 18, 19 hours. So 21, 20 was quite a big difference in my time, but there's a number of reasons why, but loved it. I put a video up, I'll put a little link up now to it, but watch the video. It goes on a bit, but it's pretty cool, and you can see how it goes. But it's really difficult to film, because you're absolutely wrecked. There's times where you just don't want to do anything. You can hardly sort of, you're just like, I'm falling apart, the seams, down the mountains. You know, you got uphills, downhills, you feel really sick, all sorts of stuff. But check it out, it's a good little vid. Anyway, what went right, what went wrong, and what could have been better really is kind of what this video is going to be about. I got everything organised. I think I was pretty well prepared, and the whole organisation there is fantastic. From picking up your bib, the aid stations, everything you need. There's loads of people to talk to, and yeah, I had no problem with that. So when you get there, you sign in. Didn't take long, about an hour, if that, 45 minutes to pick up your stuff. So I got that all sorted out, had all my kit right, I went well, and then yeah, just don't know what went right. I guess my shoes. I ran with these Hoka Evo Mafates, and they're fantastic. They're pretty well cushioned. And yeah, really comfortable. Didn't really get much issues with them, so they work for me. I've done these ones, I've done about 450 miles in, but unfortunately the sole's already worn away, which is a bit annoying, so they're going to have to be replaced soon. But they worked out really well. I didn't really wear anything out of the ordinary. Had my shorts, had my Innovate tops, just a normal technical shirt. Yeah, wore a cap. Sunglasses, my shoes, yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary. I took a couple of buffs with me, and it didn't get that cold at night, probably a little bit chilly at the top, so I ended up putting one of those Helly Hansen kind of yeah, sort of tops on, long sleeve tops, because when you leave the aid stations you are very tired and you get the really shivery, and it only takes probably about 10 or 15 minutes to warm up again. But yeah, you do get cold, so it's always nice to wear something quite comfortable. There's obviously the compulsory kit you need and everything like that. But anyway, what went wrong? Right, first thing was socks. I wore these in I never say it right, in Gin G socks, and they're great. Yeah, toe socks, always wear them, really recommend them. However, don't know why, but I just went for a short ankle sock, and yeah, just running around really. As you run, get dirt inside, little bits of rock, of course, and you start to fill up the dirt and you try and clean them out. But ultimately I got a blister inside my ankle, which really got pretty bad towards the end of the race. It wasn't a showstopper or anything like that, but it did get bad. So I noticed that problem pretty much within the first, I don't know, climb. I was like, oh, what have I done? So really, you know, you can buy different height socks, but something like that, you know, just a higher sock. These are a bit thick, these ones, but yeah, just something so the dirt doesn't go inside. You wouldn't wear gaiters or anything like that. I mean, that would be ridiculous, a bit of an overkill. But anyway, got the socks wrong. I did stop occasionally to clean out the dirt, but yeah, just throughout the thing it just got worse. So blisters, one blister. Apart from that, my feet were absolutely fine. Also what went wrong, because of the distance and I was out for a long time, I got chafing in the nether regions. It wasn't very pleasant at all. I had to go to an aid station and speak to them and try and get some cream. That was in towards the end of one of the last aid stations. But what I'm going to do is I use this squirrel's nut butter, and I'm going to take, I only had a really big pot of it. I'm going to take a little pot with me when I do these long races, because yeah, you do get chafing, and I don't have a crew with me. If you had a crew, they could give it to you and help you out, but I don't. So I'm going to take a little pot, transfer from my big pot to my little pot, and then I've got some with me. So that is definitely something. So that did go wrong. Nutrition, yeah, bit of a disaster. I didn't really have a plan, and when I got to Courmayeur, which is where you start the race, you get given a plastic bag which you fill up with your stuff. So at the end of the race you have bits and pieces. In there I left some of my bars and some of my nutrition, so I gave it to the guy, went off, and then suddenly went, oh no. So I got that wrong first of all. But the aid stations throughout the race are really, really good. They've got lots of food, cheese, ham, biscuits, fruit, melon, you know, you name it, it's excellent. Loads of water, loads of drinks. So you can get round just eating their stuff, but you're not used to it. And I can eat ham and cheese and things like that, but what I didn't do is think about my nutrition as I'm running as well. And I had tailwind in one bottle, which worked really well, and I had water in the other. So that kind of got me through a lot of the race, but I needed more for sure. I was very, very tired towards the end, and I reckon that was partly because I didn't have enough energy in me. So what I'm probably going to try and do, I've seen people use these little almond butter sachets. These look pretty cool, and I'm going to start trying to run with some of these, and just, you know, they're 200 calories in that. They're a bit claggy. We know when you eat them, you need a bit of water with it, but that's definitely going to take that. So that's the pip and nut there I can get from a sort of supermarket and stuff. But yeah, getting nutrition right, so that went wrong with me, I think. And then next thing was my pack. So I ran with the Innovate Ultra Pro vest, 2-in-1 vest. This hasn't got the back on it, which it did have. Again, I didn't really get myself organised, where I got this a bit too close. I bought this about 3 weeks before the race, so I hadn't really raced in it. So it was the first time, and as everyone says to you, schoolboy error is wear your kit, get used to it, and then go out and race. So anyway, I tried this. I like it, it's really good, but the problem are the bottles. I think the bottles work out. What they do is they sit in like a sling position, which is just down by your side here. And they're really hard to get out. Hard to get out because you've got this strap here, this here and here, but they're also hard to get back in when they're filled up. If I had a crew with me, great, give them the vest, they drop the bottles in, that was good. But when you get really shattered, I don't know, I think what I should have done is just taken the vest off, filled up my bottles, and then just drop them in and then carry on going. It sounds simple, but when you're actually wrecked and you're really, really tired, it just doesn't seem to go right. And that was a big issue for me. I think definitely I would keep running with this vest, because what I do like about it is has this pipe, so you've got the bottle here so you can drink literally right next to you, so you don't have to stop. The other vest I had, you had the bottles here and you had to sort of pull them out and drink from them. So this is definitely an upgrade, but yeah, that I really struggled with that at the aid station, so I could have got that a bit better, a bit more. But yeah, just wear your gear before a big race and get used to it. You know, that's what you need to do. What else? Poles. Yes, poles. Ran with poles. Got to have poles. CCC's mountain race, they are very, very important. Probably had my poles, well, I definitely used my poles throughout the whole race. But what I struggled with that pack was where they're positioned, and again, didn't trial it very well. So yeah, got the pole, stuck it in there, just kept falling off, so that was useless. Now I did see people running with really smart belts. I think it's from a company called Naked, and they had two little kind of clips at the back, and you could just two little sort of elastic bands or something. You could put your poles behind you, and that looked like a really good little system. So I'm going to check that out. So that could definitely be improved. Pole technique is rubbish. I'm like really all over the shop with it. But when you're climbing, you really need them. And if you watch if you're into it and you watch the UTMB, watch Pau Capel going up one of the mountains. Yeah, I think it was right there, La Flégère, and he is just powering up. It's amazing the power he uses on his poles, his legs. It's just a machine, and he works really hard using them, whereas we're just so much slower. So pole technique could definitely be improved. Right, yes, and my Sunto. So I run with a Sunto Spartan Ultra. Great watch, really like it. The problem it has is battery life, and you don't want it to run out of battery, so I set it for the lowest setting. The problem was I was running and I thought I had got to 23k, I was actually at 27k, then I was halfway, but actually my watch said I wasn't, I was 7k behind, so I never got a true distance on my watch, so that was a disaster. I reckon I could have set it to best accuracy for 21 hours and it probably would have lasted, so I don't know what to do about that. That is going to be a problem for me going forward with maybe look at another watch, I'm not sure, but that did cause me quite a few problems, so I never really knew at what position in the race, how many kilometres was that. I knew my time, but that was it. So yeah, that could have been improved. Big problem for me. Right, yeah, so what could be better? I guess aid stations. When I'm at aid stations, they're really, really good. They're very busy, especially at the beginning of the race. You see all sorts of dramas in aid stations. There's like people asleep, there's people who've been sick, there's just wrecks fast asleep, people are dropping out, people are like trying to rush. It is really, really busy for such a big race, because there are, I don't know how many competitors there are, 1,800 competitors, runners doing this race, so the aid stations are packed. So you've got to get a good plan when you go into an aid station and what you're going to do. This is the first race of this size I've ever done, so I was a little bit naive. Anyway, the key thing is to slow down in an aid station, respect the race, and just, if there's food, sit down and take your time to eat it. Because I tell you now, when I got further on into the race, I was knackered and you needed to sit down for say 10, 15, 20 minutes. One of my friends came and met me in the evening at about midnight, 1 o'clock or something. He came and met me and we sat down, had a chat. And that was really good. It kind of re-energized me, and I had a big climb coming up, and I was in quite a bit of trouble at this point, really tired, didn't feel very well. But I definitely needed to sit down, eat, get all the food inside you, yeah, and just relax. So that is one thing I really recommend. For me, when I'm running, I'm like always in a rush, and I'm thinking time this, time that. But at the end of the day, my time is kind of irrelevant. I'm not an elite athlete, so I want to do well, I want to compete, but I just rush all the time, thinking, oh, I don't want to spend too much time here. But actually, probably if you spent more time in the aid station and ate good food, got your energy up, drank lots of liquids, and then moved on, you'd probably move quicker over to the next aid station than you would if you just rushed through all the aid stations. And I did definitely towards the end, coming down into Chamonix, I was shattered. And yeah, it didn't go down so well, didn't feel very comfortable. One of the crazy things I didn't understand was the cut-offs. Basically, when you're running CCC, you have cut-off times at each aid station, and if you don't get to that aid station at a certain time, they close it and you're out of the race. I was way ahead of all the cut-offs, but at one point I was running down this, and I had it in my head that it was cutting one of the cut-offs. I'm not sure which one it was. It was going to cut off at 4:30, And I had it in my head, that was at 4:30 in the afternoon. So I ran really hard down this mountain and got to the aid station. It wasn't cut off. It wasn't closed. It was fine. But the cut-off said, it said 16:30. That was the altitude of the aid station. So I'd read it all wrong. So it's crazy. I said, oh my God, you're just ridiculous. So the signs, understand the signs. And again, you're not thinking straight. You're not getting, that you're reading things. You're not quite working things out when you're really, really tired. So understand the signage a bit better. When you do the bib collection, things like that, they have signs showing you what things are. So I'm going to learn that a bit better and get that right. So that was definitely a big problem for me. So this scrambles your brain, yeah? So when you're running and you're obviously focusing on your physical activity, but you've got so much time to think, so your mind's playing tricks with you all the way through the race. And you don't want negatives. You don't want these kind of, oh, is it a cut-off at 16:30 or is it not? You just want to know, and then you can focus more on your energy, your race, and enjoy the views, enjoy the landscape, enjoy the speaking to the other runners, things like that. What else? Altitude completely and utterly sapped me totally. It goes up to about 2,400 meters, quite high. Definitely because I live down at sea level, 80 foot or something above sea level. So the altitude totally wiped me out. I had this, I don't know what it was again. I don't know if I ever got rid of my sore throat, but I got a terrible sore throat throughout the race again. And I'm hoping that isn't because of running. Yeah, I feel a lot better now, so shouldn't. I don't know what it was, but I did struggle with the altitude. Now, don't know how you're going to get that sorted out. I live in Guildford, near London. Don't know. I've got no mountains. I think what you got to do is you've got to go out there. If you really want to compete and you really want to do well, you've got to go out there 2 weeks prior, maybe do 2 trips out there. It's just never going to happen. I don't have the budget, I don't have the time, and you need to train. You see these elites, they're training out there all the time, and they live in mountainous areas, and they're getting the right hill climbs, the hill training, using their poles all the time, and they're going at it. Whereas where I live, you've got a few hills and stuff like that. Definitely better hill training. I had just done the North Downs 100. That was, of course, my legs had not recovered from that at all. So I wasn't really going to do very well in the CCC. But the idea was to use it as a great learning race, some great experience, because my goals is to run the UTMB. I'd love to do that race and some mountain races, maybe 1 or 2 a year. It'd be fantastic. So anyway, look, that's it. I loved it. If you've got the CCC, you're thinking about doing a race, check the UTMB. It's fantastic. It's the most amazing race. The support, the people watching, I loved it. There was great times. You're running through Switzerland, through the villages. Just check my video out. You'll see. It was awesome. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. Hopefully that helps. Do subscribe. Leave some comments below, and just get in touch if you need any questions, any help. So